In the toolbox underneath Document, we have the Label tool. There are two ways to label in ArchiCAD. One's automatically and one's independently. So if I double click on this icon, the tool palette opens up. Over here we have the normal favorites palette, so if we actually create a label that we like or we use all the time, we would save that obviously in favorites. Then we have the independent label, and then underneath that we can set up different types or styles of labels for each of these elements, which makes it particularly flexible when we're placing objects and we want it to be labeled automatically. But if I just stick with the independent label at the moment, over here on this side we have a number of different styles. We can also, a label is also just a library part, and we can create our own, and this is where we would load that label if we had created our own. Then we have a number of other types of labels. I'm just going to stick to text. Under text we have all our usual font stylings. We can also label frames, and we can also have opaque frames, so we might have a colored background to our labels. Underneath that we have the pointer, so we can define the pointer, whether it's defined by 3 nodes or just an arc. We can have the pointer going to the top of the text box, to the middle, or to the lower point of the text box. We can also define the pen of the arrow and also define the arrow. We can also define the size of it. These two, symbol label and custom settings, are blanked out at the moment, but if we chose another label style, these become available and various parameters become available, so we can fill them in and further refine what we want our label to look like. Then the text label, if we have a piece of text in here, every time we place the independent label it will fill in with this. So if I just say OK, if I click left mouse click once on the floor plan, twice to define a node, third time places the label. If I want to edit it, I can merely select it, left mouse click in there, and I can change the text in there if I like. If I delete that and open that up again and I have nothing in there, push OK, I can do the same thing, and now the cursor is prompting me to put something in there, and I can place anything else that I like in there, like so. So I'm just going to undo that again. Even once I've placed the label, I can select it by picking it up from this corner or the front arrow, or even one of the hotspots on the label. By selecting it we can see the hotspots, and over here if I grab the arrow and using this tool in the pet palette I can move that around. If I grab it by this node I move the rest of the label around anywhere I like. I'm just going to delete that again. I might just place a piece of text in there again. I can also fix the angle of it, so if I wanted the text to be at a certain angle all the time, I can just left mouse click that, select that, and fill in an angle there. But I'm going to uncheck that, and of course the layer that we put the label on, I'm going to leave that on label because it's a nice logical name. If I push OK, that's how we place an independent label. If we want to place an automatic label, as I click on every one of these elements, if I double click it, down the bottom under listing and labeling, if I say label wall and push OK, next time I draw a wall it will automatically label that wall. If I open that and click on the label settings, here we see that if we click on the wall tool we've got text and it says to demolish. If I want to change that to another type of label, we can just by simply clicking on another type of label. Now if I wanted to put a window in, for example, same thing, label settings, I've already pre-selected a window type here, and this one just designates the size. Doors, if I left mouse click and place a door, it's placing a door like that. A beam, column. So basically any element here we can just label automatically, and that's as simple as it is.